Hello everyone and welcome to the FIA Certified Gran Turismo Championships Nations Cup racing coming up for you today from the Oceania region. This the 2019-20 Exhibition Series Season 1 round number 10. Myself, Chris McCarthy, Jimmy Broadbent here to call you through the action.
Good to be here as always, Chris. Always some fun racing to be at the Nations Cup, so looking forward to seeing what our guys can do for us today.
Well, 9 rounds so far. Here are the points on screen for you. Nick McCosey, of course, on top there, 10,800 points. Hollow 1 is second place, so some very familiar names from our World Tour scene at the top of the standings. Little fella in third place, Kenemos in fourth place. Quite close from fourth downwards. Sidderwig, of course, there in line face. All very close together in the standings.
You're just competitive really down to sixth, and then it really starts to drop off towards the bottom there. So still a couple of places to be had, probably a bit further down the field, but it seems that the top couple now are quite locked in.
Well, let's have a look at where we're going to be going racing today then. Quite a popular circuit, I think it's fair to say. We're going to be going to the Kyoto Driving Park, the fictional circuit in Japan. We're going to be using the longest version of it. So there you can see the layout if you haven't used it much before, have never driven it. It's a very long circuit, 7 different sectors in total, almost 7,000 meters long, 20 turns and lots of places to overtake. Very hard on the tyres, this one.
It is definitely, especially in the cars we'll be using, but we'll get to that in a second. Not much in terms of elevation apart from the way down to T8. Downhill braking zone, they're very tricky to get the car stopped if you're trying to overtake, so you want to watch the rear end through there.
Yeah, it's a mixture of uphill and downhill braking zones, isn't it? So a very good challenge this for the drivers, particularly in the cars they're going to be in. But this is where the penalties are going to be awarded today, out of T12, out of the last corner as well. Hopefully we don't see too many of those. Usually we get nice clean races in this one, but hopefully I haven't just put the commentator's curse on that one. Let's have a look at the race details. This is going to be Group 1 cars we're going to be racing on. Medium hard tyres have to be used, 15 lapper, 8 times tyre wear, so over 100 kilometres of racing.
So, of course, the upside and the downside to using these Group 1 cars is they're going to be pretty much planted through the fast stuff, but those tyres are going to take a little bit of a beating through here, especially with the 8 times tyre wear multiplier there. Speaking of tyres, let's have a look at our strategy, what we think is going to happen with the tyre compounds anyway. We think the racing medium tyre can last about 5 laps before it starts to lose a bit of performance, and same to be said for the racing hard tyre, but with 7 laps. About 1.3 seconds, 1.5 seconds of lap difference between the two tyres. And we've seen lots of different strategies here, but it seems to be basically between a 1-stop and a 2-stop. Some people do try a 3-stop, but I think the 2-stop probably the most reliable.
Well, let's have a look who's going to start on which tyres, where they're going to be starting. It's time to go racing in the Oceania region. This the Nations Cup. There we can see the grid now. Kenemos, Matt in second place. The first of our hard tyre runners in fourth in line face. Nick there in 5th place. We got Brian on the hard tyres down in 8th as well. Slightly reduced grid, but a good mixture of cars, particularly at the front there.
Nice to see, actually. We've been so used to seeing the Tomahawk take be the car of choice round here, but only Mint Matt, which of course is Matt Simmons, GT Academy winner and Porsche Manufacturers Champion from last time out at Tokyo. But he won't be starting. He's starting second from Kenny Economos in first place there in the 919 hybrid. He'll get a good start away with that hybrid system. Let's watch out then. So just warming the tyres, getting them nice and toasty before the race starts. Come across the line. And away we go then for 15 laps at Kyoto Driving Park, and just like that, Matt Simmons is absolutely mobbed by 919 hybrids coming through the T1. The hybrid there just pushing the car through, and likewise back a bit further down the field. Slide Dog up to second, that's Simon Bishop of course, and the Lion Face up to third on that hard compounder tyre. So not a great start there for Matt in the Tomahawk, but he'll be looking to try and get those places back as the laps go on. Now coming through the fast left-hander, Side Bishop looks up the inside, half-heartedly there of Kenny Economos in front. And then I dive down towards T8 for the first time. I
think this is the first region where the Tomahawk is actually the least popular car. We've got Peugeot 908 down the back of the field with Brian on that as well. So we'll see how that gets on. But that's a change for third place. And there we can see the Peugeot. There was a challenge there. I think Matt trying to go into third down the inside of line face. Don't think the move was quite made. Now Iron Mask, another one.
Contact there.
Well, there has been a spin as well. Jono Stan has gone round in the Tomahawk, so not too sure what happened there. But Iron Mask is at 12 seconds back, so big problems for him somewhere. He's in the 919 hybrid. Here's the replay.
There we are then, just coming off the hairpin at the bottom into the left-hander, and I think he does it on his own. He's sideways here, yeah, all the way around, so just a little bit too aggressive on the power there. He was sliding before he got to the exit there. I think just tried to carry it and then boost off the corner, so to speak, but didn't work out for Jono, and that's his race pretty much done before it's even started.
Well, here we go. We can see line face here on the hard tyre and on the Tomahawk behind Matt Simmons trying to get up the order. Should be what has been the most favourable car, and the car that's won all the races that we've seen in most of the region. So Matt Simmons will be looking to get up the order as quickly as possible here, but at the moment struggling to get past line face. We've got Siddewick just ahead of that. Kenemos is leading the way so far. 710's clear out front, so a spread in the field so far. This is the closest battle for third place. We've got a good battle going on for 6 just behind this as well, coming out the final corner now. And there we can see it's quite close. Someone in already.
That's Nick in.
Nick has come in.
Going to get rid of the hard compound tyre and go straight to the medium, as does Brian. We didn't have the best start as well, so I think maybe just trying to get off that hard tyre as quick as they can, and then try and get a bit of free air and really use the speed of the medium. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, Sidog there, currently the highest Kiwi driver at the moment. It's only him and Lionface in here representing New Zealand at the moment, so good to see them doing well, but falling back a little bit from Kenny Economos in front.
Yeah, well, that can sometimes happen. Speaking of the drivers down the field, with these longer races, you can try and adapt your strategy if something doesn't go your way early in the race.
Yeah, you can do that, of course. It's always a bit of a compromise, though, when you start adapting your strategy on the fly, because you're thinking, oh, I'll come into the pits now and just get that, maybe stop a bit earlier, but then you're compromising yourself a bit later on. So yellow flag out on the circle.
Yeah, yellow flags. Not too sure why.
I think maybe there was an issue there with maybe Iron Mask, who's now in the pit lane, but maybe just someone going a little bit wide. But everyone seems to be getting through there okay. And importantly for Matt Simmons there, Mint Matt, he's still falling back there. I think that's Matt Simmons. Matt Simmons is Mint GTR, isn't he? So maybe I'm getting it wrong. So there's too many Mats, too many Mint Mats. What's going on?
Iron Mask has got a penalty as well, so not too sure what's happened there. Yeah, just a track limits penalty, so nothing too dramatic. We'll serve that out of T12.
That's his punishment for that livery. If you're running that livery, expect a penalty, all right?
It's not a great one, that, is it? Oh dear. Let's let it get a bit closer. Yeah.
I've got to say, I do enjoy part of doing these races here is we don't get so much in the events, so we get to see the custom liveries. Yeah, and some of them are fantastic. Some of them are bannable.
The Asia region was the most. That was the most interesting liveries from what I can remember.
Yeah, there was one.
The Esteban Ocon Max Verstappen one.
Oh man, that was a bad one. And there was one car that was just green with a turtle shell in the back of it.
Yeah,
that was it. Nothing else. Like, there was some interesting stuff there. I mean, happy to say that the livery that old Lionface running here, I think trying to emulate the All Blacks rugby kit, it seems here, which looks pretty intimidating in your mirror, I must say. But
not a great time in the World Cup there.
No, not a great time really.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, wasn't much better for us in the end, though, was it?
No. Well, up at the front, Sidog is just keeping a stable gap to Kenemos at the moment. And there is Sidog now in the 919 hybrid. Fairly stable gap, just over a second at the moment, so keeping a good pressure on. I think those yellow flags are going to be out there for a while, so just put those to one side. Line face is 3.2 seconds back. And then
Marshall's probably just wondering where the rest of the field are. Where's everyone else gone?
There must be 6 drivers off somewhere. This is Nick, who is behind Viper Z. So just trying to get into the top 6. Viper Z not too far behind the Conzio.
I would say for me the top 6 is old school F1 points. So I think if I get in the top 6, that's a good achievement, even in a 10-car field here. So coming down now to the numerous hairpins on this circuit, you can see a bit of elevation change over the hairpin, which is always horrible because you want the car to be nice and sturdy through there. But as soon as the corner drops off, you'll notice the car gets very sideways very quickly, and that's where I think that's what caught out Jono a bit earlier on, on the hairpin before, just to get caught a little bit by the elevation, and the car comes round on you.
Running off there, Viper Z, I think just about got away with that. Are you a fan of this circuit?
I mean, I quite enjoy driving it. The problem is I'm not very good at GT Sport, so
right. Why we got you here then?
I don't know really. I think I'm just here out of pity, but But it's a very fun circuit. I always find the fictional circuits in GT are just a lot of fun. Now, there are a lot of circuits I would like to see brought back. I'm sure there's a lot of people who join me in that as well. You know, Trial Mountain, Deep Forest, all those ones. As we have Mint Mac come out of the pits after his pit stop, comes out just behind where we are now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's any GT fictional tracks that I dislike outside of Complex String. That circuit can go away. That can be burned in the fire.
if that's possible. Right, Nick now really applying the pressure to Viper's head, sells him the dummy. Can he get up the inside? Yeah,
Very
perfect
nice
move. Yeah, good stuff there from Nick. That was old school driving. Just went to the outside and got straight back across under braking. So Viper's head, nothing he can do in response. He's going to try and move back down the outside at the hairpin. Now might get the run out of the left-hander, but of course he's coming under pressure from someone on newer tyres behind in Mint Matt.
I'm sort of confused as to choice. We've seen either people go for the hybrid LMP ones or for the Tomahawk, and we have Viper's Head there and a non-hybrid Audi R18 back when it was just diesel powered and that was it.
Yeah.
So interesting to see what that choice is about, because it seems here that these Tomahawks are just fantastic for the corners, it seems. I think that they're lacking a little bit in a straight line, but around this circuit, I mean, just look at the track map in your top right hand corner. Straight line speed is not important around here. In the background there looks like Mint Matt has actually got past Viper's Z. I think there was a mistake there from Viper's Z just coming through the hairpin. I think starting to suffer a bit of tyre wear on those medium tyres. He'll be in the pitch soon, I imagine. But yeah, it just really seems that this Tomahawk is really suited for this circuit.
Interestingly enough, the sector, which is pretty much flat out, the 7 to 8 second sector, is actually the Peugeot 908 that's fastest through there at the moment in 9th place with Brian in the 7.1 seconds. I think that will be a good one to keep an eye on, see which car goes quickest through there, but certainly won't be the Tomahawk.
Well, we say that, of course, but at the moment our top 3 cars so far are all Porsche 919 hybrids, so it's nice to see a bit of a change here, and of course leave it to the Oceania fellas to do something a little bit different. That's very, very typical of those guys. And again, here we are with Cydog and Cy Bishop. Had a lot of success with Toyota in the Manufacturers Series at the events, and definitely quite well known now in his home country, New Zealand, as he comes down to the hairpin. A fun story about Cy Bishop, by the way, for me. In one of the events, Mr. Tom Brooks, who of course is usually here doing commentary, kept calling him Australian. And yeah, exactly. We found out the hard way about that the first time we did that. And so his mother at the next event gave him a keyring saying New Zealand on to give to me and Tom, and I now have it on my keyring. It says New Zealand on it, just so I know where he's from now.
Oh God.
The difference for those at home is that New Zealand flag does not have the big star in the bottom left.
Yes,
That's how you know.
I mean, there's probably plenty of people who would have looked at that and gone, they're all Australian. But yes, Simon Bishop's got himself a new setup, as we saw on social media recently as well. It's changed over.
A bit touchy-feely back here with Mint Matt.
The Tomahawks all together.
Yeah, driving into the back of Nick there through the hairpin. So easy to do that when you're more confident going into a corner, is kind of carry the speed in. The guy in front is just slow, and you're like, oh no, where do I go here?
Yeah.
There have been a couple of times when I've been driving and I've been, shall we say, removed from the circuit, being a bit slow into a corner.
That usually happens to me if I come in, I don't know, maybe earlier in the pits, is it? And you've got the faster drivers behind you, and they're like, that's how fast you should be going through the corner.
Oh, we have a pit stop, by the way. We had
Cydog's in.
Yep, he's going to go for a fresh set of mediums, fills it back up as well. Now, good exit there from Mint Matt, bit of contact right on the rear quarter. Now, if I were Nick there, I would have pitted then. And just said, you know what, okay, I'll come in the pit now, just give my last stop and go from there. But he's chosen to stay out for one more lap. But those guys get really physical there. You wouldn't believe there's only 10 cars in this race. They're really going at it.
Yeah, and this is Viper's Head now closing in. Hasn't yet come into the pits either. So this is good stuff from Viper's Head behind.
Tell you what, Jono, after his issue at the start of the race, is coming back up through the field. He's in 7th place.
That's a good spot, yeah.
So about 3 seconds behind Viper's Head, who also is yet to pit. So there might be something still on this race for Jono. Of course, he'll still be reviewing his earlier mistake, but it seems right now that it's a bit of a slower race than I think we've seen in the other regions. So our best lap so far is down at 57.1. I think we've seen 55s in other regions, so maybe a bit more of a calm race this one.
Yeah, and if we go back up to second, we'll see Dog's closing in on Lionface, who's the only one out there still on the hard tyre. A couple started on the hard tyre, but Lionface has kept going, so that suggests he's going to do a one-stop in this race. But now he's holding up Simon Bishop, who's going to look to the outside, and this is really bad news. Should be able to just go around the outside here.
No.
Oh, maybe not.
That's what happens when you're on a fresh tyre and you start squeezing someone on a worn tyre to the inside. That usually they just can't make the corner and they need that room. So although you have to kind of think about that a little bit when you're making the overtake, it's not realistic to squeeze the guy that tight on the corner, but still Dog trying round the outside there. He's going to have the right line though coming down the hill and using the hybrid to be on the right side for this first part of the hairpin, chicane, sorry. Through he goes, nicely. I think Lionface maybe just going to let that happen a little bit there. He knows that Sai is a bit quicker in front, and through goes Sai back into second place, but he didn't need that. He's trying to get the undercut right now, and he has to just deal with being stuck behind a slower car. Interestingly, Kenny at the front of the field he's not coming in.
No, and he's got a 7.3 second lead. It's looking very good so far for Kenny.
Well, we'll see what Sai can do here on the fresh compounder tyre, on the fresh mediums. If he can gain a bit of gap in back here, maybe he can get some sort of undercut, but get a bit close, and then when Kenny does eventually stop, well, we'll see from there. We know that these hybrid cars are quite severe on the tyres, especially the front tyres, because the front tyres are doing the turning as well. But of course, when you hit the hybrid button, the car becomes four-wheel drive effectively. And if you're doing that out of a corner, you get, well, if you imagine the front-wheel drive car and smashing the throttle, and that's what you get with the tyres out of the corner. They just spin up and a lot of scrubbing. So there's definitely a technique to driving these cars.
Matt is absolutely flying in fourth place, fastest on track in the first sector at the moment. So starting to get the hammer down here is Matt, the Australian driver. About 3.5 seconds behind Lionface, who's still out there on that hard tyre. Now Lionface is over 2 seconds slower than most of the drivers who have done a stop. So really suffering here, but I'd say it's about time now for Lionface to come in. Half the race is effectively over, so he might as well come into the pits here, but we'll find out on this lap whether he chooses to do so. You can see how much the gap's coming down between Oceania and Dog.
I'd say that, yeah.
It's about a couple of seconds already, isn't it? So Dog really flying on those new tyres.
So you've done a bit of racing, Chris. You're Kenny right now. You're looking in your mirrors, you're looking at the time, and you're seeing that Sai Bishop is gaining very quickly, and you still have your stop. Do you stop now? Like,
well, yeah, I was used to people telling me, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say he knows his strategy. Yeah, coming in. Yeah. Well, I think he's just going to do half and half, isn't he? I think that's his plan. So half the race is done. Come in, do the other half, I guess. So in he comes. We'll see where he comes back out. Third. Yeah, third. So Dog's gone off into the distance. I guess all Kenemos can hope now is that Dog has to stop again. If he doesn't, then it's going to be bad news for Kenemos.
Well, the legendary commentator once said, with half the race gone, there is half the race left to go. And we still have that right now. And Kenemos in front, of course. Kenny Economos, which is hard to say when you're seeing his username as well. These guys, I think they just do it to mess with you, I think.
Yeah.
There was, so 0.7 off Lionface in front, and he's going to have the same problem Dog had, which is he needs to get through, not think about... not really think about battling him too much and just get the move done as quick as we can. I'm a bit disappointed really, because apparently Sai was saying that he was going to run a livery and said hello Jimmy and Tom on there. I've not seen that on there yet. And,
Jimmy and Tom?
Yeah, I know. It was going to be Jimmy and Tom, sorry mate. I tried to tell him.
I know I am no longer going to speak to him.
Well, you can have like Jimmy and Tom / Tom and Chris / Chris and Chaz.
just whoever, yeah. Okay, just tell me in advance, and I'll apply that livery to the race. Oh well. There we go. I see how it is. I see how it is.
Oh well, so Kenny here is he's gaining, of course, as you expect, on Lionface in front. Not by enough though. He needs to be getting by quicker than that. Now Sai has clear track. He's got fresher tyres. Well, not fresher tyres. He's got a stickier tyre on the medium compound. And so he should be able to pull a bit of a gap now. This is kind of the phase that matters in the race. Is not necessarily fighting on track, but fighting in terms of lap times. And that's what happens when you have different split strategies. And Sai also, on that last lap, we say sector 4, which is our favourite small sector, is actually set the fastest time through there, 7.1 seconds. So coming in, yeah, Lion Face I think comes in there, gone onto the medium compounder tyre. So now we have pretty much a straight fight. Now, do we expect Side to pit again? I think he pitted quite early.
He should be pitting again. His lap times are 1:57.3, so they're not really falling away at the moment. We've seen people able to do the one stop similar to what Sidog's doing, so you never know. He might surprise us and go all the way to the end here, but the advantage he has is Kenemos is on the harder tyre, so let's see. It's really Kenemos's race is in Sidog's hands in a way.
Well, this is pretty tricky here when you're out on your own and you happen just to hot lap. You know, I've been in a situation before in sim races where you've gone, someone's pitted and you know you have 5 laps to go as quick as you can and try and jump the person in the next pit stop. It's very difficult because you go into hot lap mode. Hot lap mode can be good and it can be bad, because when you start pushing a little bit too hard, you see a little mistake. You saw Sai going a bit wide coming, I think it's through turn number 6, the long left-hander before coming downhill. Just putting a wheel on the gravel there. Now that's a 10th. That's a 10th, you know.
Yeah.
And you do that a couple of times to that, you've lost half a second, and all of a sudden it starts snowballing. So this is why I think racing is such a fun and such a pure form of sport. It's all about, it's just skill. You have to make sure you're being as precise as possible, and especially when the cars are the same here as they are between our two front runners.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sidog, I think someone, of course, we see at the World Tour events should be able to get in the zone enough to do a good job here, but we'll see. Kenemos also a good, very quick driver. But this is where these races become very interesting, where they're split by 6 seconds, but they aren't really, if that makes sense. This is a much closer race than 6 seconds, potentially.
The thing is, Kenny needs to be gaining right now, and he's not. He's 6.1 seconds. That gap's come up a little bit. Again, he is on the hard compounder tyre, so he is going to be struggling a bit more for grip compared to Sai in front. But he needs to be gaining a bit, otherwise when the pit stop does come, the pit stop's quite quick around here. It's about 6-7 seconds or so in and out. So at the moment, you know, it's right on the edge.
This is another battle further back. Soon won't be, or at least shouldn't be, because Nick's done 2 stops. The Conzio has done 1. So we should see Nick going past, or at least that's what he'll be planning to do. Iron Mask had made another stop, of course, a race to forget for him. Kenemos is, well, of course, Kenemos should be 1.3 seconds a lap slower, and he's certainly not that much slower, so I guess that's something that could be an advantage for him.
See just how tricky it is to get the power down in this Tomahawk here. The car's squirming at the rear.
Oh,
so Conzio goes wide there. But the thing is, overtaking into squad is quite difficult. He's gone alongside. That was just a bit impatient there, I think, from Nick. Just he could have waited there. That's not really an overtaking spot, because by the time you've got the nose there, the guy's already committed to the corner, and it's always going to end like that.
That was definitely an impatient attempt. So Nick, if he'd waited behind, he would have gone up the inside at the hairpin. There's no doubt about it. He would have been right on his tail and would have just dived down the inside. So now he's given himself all the work to do again. He's going to have to wait for another opportunity to open up. Very easy to do something like that, but it's a punch of the steering wheel moment after it happens.
Problem with my steering wheel is it punched me back, so I've got to be careful with that. But here is Nick again. You see, he's all over the back at the moment. The thing is, he's too squabbling. It's allowing Viper Z in the background to get a bit of a look in now. Sidog has come into the pits and he's going to be fitting the hard compounder tyre. Where does he come out compared to Economos? So we'll get our timing up on the screen. Here we are there, Sidog, and there's Kenny Economos right in the background. He's carrying all the speed though from the start-finish line. He'll have to run probably coming up through the fast section, but Sidog I think has played a blinder here. He's got fresher tyres than Kenny behind, and less time to use them. So I think really this is now Simon Bishop's race to lose.
Yeah, well, this has just become very interesting. We said it was a much closer race than 6 seconds, and this is exactly what we were talking about. Half a second now between Sidog and Kenemos, and Lionface on the medium tyre behind, closing in as well. Now, how worn are those medium tyres? Let's go back to this battle first. Conzio versus Nick. It's taken Nick a lap to really line up another move, and that just goes to show how one mistake like he made can punish you in a race, because the amount of time he has now lost and he's done 2 stops as well, so he could have been in a comfortable 5th by now, but that's not the case anymore. Nearly running wide there again was Conzio. Let's see what happens now he stays behind up here.
Yeah. We'll see if he can. Oh, boy, he's got a bit of a toe. Let's see if he can just. No, it's not quite enough.
Oh,
we see
well,
the speed there. I mean, call that a bump and run.
naughty.
We call that. You might get a penalty for that. Although, again, I think Nick is just. He's doing something that I think is quite indicative. It's a sim racer-esque move. It's not really quite predicting what the guy in front is going to be doing so much. It's very much just practicing on your own race. And I think that if you're a bit inexperienced with racing online, then sometimes you just go, oh yeah, the guy in front is going to be able to do that easy. But what he needs to know is he's on fresher tyres. He's obviously a bit quicker anyway. And if you expect the guy in front of you to go through the corner at the same speed as you after you've been catching him for the last few laps, and you're just being a bit naive there. I think that was the result. Nick running into the back of Conzio. No penalty given though, but you can see Nick now is released 1.5 seconds off the road already.
I get what you mean. It didn't seem intentional, but he just thought he was in a race on a first lap almost, didn't he? That was kind of the approach he had. So. Right, well, we were talking about line face a little bit earlier. The gap was 1.3 last time we checked in, and that was less than a lap ago. It's now 4/10. But that said, Side Dog at the front has pulled away. So the gap between Side Dog and line face is probably fairly similar than what it was. But certainly Kenemos is just starting to fall away a little bit in this one. Interesting race, this. It's... these 3 all involved, Side Dog with a big advantage, but it's definitely far from over.
I think Lionface has got a good chance here, I think, and I'm fairly sure Lionface is one of the people who attends the events, but I can't put his username to someone. I always feel so guilty because we haven't got a big chart here, and if we did, it would be massive. Well, we tried that once, didn't we? We had like an A3 sheet of usernames and driver names, and it ended up just being thrown on the floor after one race.
That happens with a lot of notes. You make about 20 pages and then you throw 19 and a half of them on the floor.
Yeah, welcome to being a commentator. It's great. But so here is Lionface. I think he's got this now. He's got the pace on Conemos. Oh, nearly. And you see there, Conemos saw it coming and just broke that a little bit later on the brakes, and the car really squirmed on the way in. But again, importantly, that behind them we have Mint Matt coming into the fray as well, who's on a car which is a bit better through the corners. Anyway, Lionface looking to the outside for the hairpin, can't quite get it done.
Good news for Side Dog. This.
Oh, he does. Cut back.
He's going to have the power out the corner. See you later. Right, there we go.
Shut up then. Well, Lionface, there you go. Nice move.
Yeah, that was a good move. Well, I think that was a case of Kenemos just running a little bit wide, carried a bit too much speed and being on the inside of the corner. So Lionface released, but the gap's 2.2 seconds. It seems a little bit too much for me, given how long Lionface has been on these medium tyres.
About 7 tenths a lap, really, we would be looking for to get that gap down for the end now, maybe even 8 tenths a lap. So we'll see what Lionface can do. He was pretty quick through the field. We know that Side Dog's on fresh rubber, although he was on a slower compounder tyre. We'll have to just see how Lionface can conserve his mediums, if he has, of course. He's putting away, though, from Conemos at quite a rate behind. My word, nearly a second already. Same with Mint Matt behind him. So it looks like Lionface is looking to try and go after Side Dog.
I think this is a case of just Kenemos having worn those tyres down, even though they're hard tyres, just can't make the most of them. And it seems that he's just the one that's holding people up rather than everyone else catching each other. So
that pass there, it was just momentum. Conemos are using the hybrid just to get on the inside though for the left hander, and we know now the hybrid is quick up the hill. So although Mint Matt has the faster car under him, there's no point. There goes the happy button, and there goes the 919 hybrid up to defend for another lap. But we saw the momentum that Matt was able to carry through T6, just so much faster through these corners here, and again right onto the back of the Porsche, but not able to pass on the exit.
Well, the gap. Matt. Okay, that's not the track, but if you want to use it, fair enough. There we go. Matt's going to get through now, although he's going to have the slower car on the exit, and Kenemos goes back through.
That's always so frustrating when this is the situation here, but this is racing right here, and this is what I love about this series, is that we do get the, although we tend to get one car being the more popular, we do see a couple of different cars coming together, and Mint Matt there forces Kenny wide. He goes, you know what, I'm not going to let you have this. But the thing is, look at the hybrid again. This must be so he's made the pass 3 or 4 times now, but he just can't make it stick with the hybrid, and I'm sure there are some choice words inside the SRT Tomahawk at the moment.
Well, the gap's coming down up front, 1.7 it was, but that's not enough. He needs to half that gap on this lap alone. This is going to be interesting to see.
That was half a second, that lap. And I don't think it's going to quite be enough. I mean, he's charging. I think Lionface is definitely the fastest guy on the track at the moment, but just not able to close that gap. I say that fastest man on track last lap was a certain Mint Matt, who is now who's in 4th position, and there he is now looking around the outside of T6. Oh wow, swipes in there, uses the downforce and the cornering speed of, that's just someone saying, you know what, I'm going past now, I've had enough of this, I'm leaving. Kenny Cunningham has no reply to that, but last lap round was a 55.9 for Matt, the driver you're watching now on your screen, which is faster than your race leader by, by quite some way.
I tell you what, Lionface was half a second faster, so that's not enough. But still, it definitely shows he's trying. What about Mint Matt? What can he do? Because he's done 2 stops on the medium. He's one of the very few drivers at the front, anyway, to have done that. But
I think honestly, if he had got past Kenny a lap or 2 previously,
he would have had a chance.
He could have had a chance of the win here. But I think now, because of that, he's just been held up too much and just doesn't quite have the pace left, or the time left, I should say. I think he's got the pace. There's no time left to do it.
Well, here's Lionface, and Psydog's just stabilising the gap now. It's very difficult to keep the gap at this rate and just keep responding to the driver behind. But I think there's an element here of Lionface settling now, 4th position. And there's a time in a race, no matter what people say, and don't give up and stuff, but there is a time in a race where you always do that mentally.
I've always found myself just pushing to the end usually, then driving off the track on the last lap because I just didn't want to turn it off. But I think that Matt has just, the child has come to a bit of a halt there. Maybe the tyres have gone, or he's just thought, as you said, you know what, I'm not going to catch it. Let's just consolidate 3rd place. But Lionface, he's still trying. He's 1.5 seconds behind now. He might be able to just grab the first bits of a toe coming down the hill here, but I don't think there's going to be enough time for him to catch. Again, it's been traffic management. It's been the main thing for a lot of these guys. They're pivoted in and then come out behind someone who's a bit slower and not being able to do much about it. I think the big loser, though, is Kenny Cunningham. He was leading this race, and I think the strategy just didn't work out for him. You see, there he is now. He's now 2.3 seconds behind the fellow who just overtook him for 3rd. And from the lead down to 4th, he won't be happy with that.
No, not at all. But the one stop not working for him. He went the other way than Lionface did, and Lionface went the right way with the strategy, and didn't particularly have a fantastic start to the race. So he's recovered well. He gave himself a hard job to do, starting on the harder tyre, and he somehow made it work quite well. But it seemed the 2-stop for Psydog has been the better strategy. Likewise for Mint Matt. Those two have played good strategies.
They have done. Here is Seidel coming into the last half of the circuit now in that Porsche 919 hybrid. We haven't seen one of these cars win one of these races yet, so it's quite refreshing to see the hybrid at the front of the field. Always good to see different options available to our drivers. See there, just a nice wide line, and using the hybrid on exit, trying to get the car put in a straight line before unleashing the four-wheel drive, coming through the last chicane for the last time.
Right, here we go. One more corner to go. We haven't seen a 919 hybrid, anything other than a Tomahawk win, but we are about to see that. Simon Bishop, Psydog, out of the final corner, is going to take the win in the Nations Cup, round number 10 in the Oceania region. The Kiwi up to the line. It's going to be a Kiwi 1-2. Psydog leading them home. Lionface finishes in second place. Matt finishes in third place. A hard charge at the end, a good effort. Kenamos dropping back at the end, may feel slightly disappointed with his strategy. Nick finishes in fifth place. Viper Z now comes across the line to finish in sixth place. An up and down race for Viper Z. John O'Stan finishes seventh place. The Conzio in eighth. Those two had decent battles at times. Brian in the Peugeot finishes in ninth place. Iron Mask, disappointing race. Did close down the gap to the rest of the field, but a one to forget for Iron Mask at the back. So there is the results. Psydog, Lionface, Matt your top three. Matt with the fastest lap.
Yeah, definitely a smaller race than we're used to in these broadcasts, but I still one that was full of strategy. And in the end, of course, Psydog played it right. Kenny Connemore standing fourth, played it wrong. But a good race there from our Oceania guys, and hopefully next time we'll have a few more there.
Let's see how it affected the points. It was a good one, and Oceania points after 10 rounds will look like so. Just coming up on screen for you now, and here we go. Let's have a look at them then. So Dog, with that result, goes to the top of the standings, so a win and the lead after 10 rounds, so he'll feel very, very happy with that. Nick Picosi dropping to second. Lionface up the order as well, going to third. Matt goes up to sixth. Brian up to 11th as well, so some big movers after that result. Fantastic race, and there will be more fantastic racing. It's going to be our final live event of the year. The big one, the World Finals from Monaco, the end of our 2019 World Tour. November the 22nd to the 24th is when you need to be there to see who is crowned World Finals champions. For now, though, from myself, Chris McCarthy, and Jimmy Broadbent, it's goodbye.
So after an investigation into this week's races, it became apparent that some drivers were using a loophole with the tyres. So what was happening is drivers were starting with two compounds of tyres, hard on the front, for example, and medium on the rear, and that would then essentially fool the game into thinking that, both tyre compounds have been used. Because this is technically not against the rules, rather just a loophole in the regulations, the results will remain the same for this week, but will be changed so the loophole cannot be used in further events.